Average velocity. Students, we discussed earlier about the velocity and its variation. If the velocity of a body is uniform, that is, constant throughout the journey, it is easier to express the velocity. But in most of the cases in daily life, we find the bodies moving with variable velocities. A bus moves to Pokhara from Kathmandu. Will it move in the same velocity throughout the path? Of course not. The bus sometimes moves faster and sometimes slower. In such cases, the overall velocity of the bus should be calculated taking an average of the different velocities it moves with. For this, the total linear distance covered by the bus, that is, the shortest distance between Kathmandu and Pokhara, is divided by the total time taken by the bus to cover this linear distance. Let us take an example. A bus is moving from point A to D, and it moves with different velocities at different intervals on the way from A to D. While moving from A to B, it has a velocity of 20 meters per second. It accelerates and gets the velocity of 30 meters per second while moving from B to C, and finally it attains the velocity of 40 meters per second while moving from C to D. The average velocity of the bus can be calculated by taking the average of these velocities, as average velocity is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 upon 3. Or V bar is equal to 20 meters per second plus 30 meters per second plus 40 meters per second divided by 3 is equal to 30 meters per second. It is a rough calculation, as it is not clear in the example for how much time the bus gets the velocities of 20 meters per second, 30 meters per second, and 40 meters per second. So, the average velocity is more accurately calculated from the ratio of the total displacement of the bus to the total time taken by it for the displacement. Students, you know that displacement is the linear distance or the distance covered in a fixed direction. Here we note the total time taken by the bus while moving from A to D and the linear distance between the points A and D in order to calculate the average velocity of the bus while moving from A to D. The average velocity is calculated from the ratio of the displacement of the bus to the total time taken by it for the displacement as average velocity V bar is equal to total displacement brackets distance travelled in specific direction divided by total time taken. V bar is equal to S upon T.